What's up guys, this is Dennis with Luke Zan Jewelry. Thank you so much for tuning in today. In this video, I'm going to be showing you the 5.9 millimeter double curb chain. So with that being said, let's get started. Alright guys, and like always, I like to mention where these chains are manufactured, and this one specifically is made in Italy and it's solid sterling silver 925. Now when you first look at the double curb, one of the main things that stands out is the overall link pattern. This chain takes that classic curb chain direction, but it gives it a fuller and more built up appearance. That is really what makes this design different. A standard curb chain already has a clean and recognizable look. It is one of the most classic chain styles out there, but with the double curb, you are getting more going on in the design. The links look more filled out, and that is because the chain has a stronger visual presence on the neck. That is really the first thing I noticed with this chain. And it still stays in the curb family, so it's very easy to understand, but it has a more layered look than the original basic curb chain. And that is what this video is really about, showing you the difference. Because when you look at it from a normal distance, the first thing you're going to pick up is that fuller look. Then once you get closer, you start to appreciate the link pattern more, and you get to see the similarities with the standard original curb chain. Now, one of the things I like about this design is that it's familiar, but it still has its own identity. And another thing worth pointing out is the shine. One thing many people don't talk about is that the original curb chain in general is a shiny chain because of the diamond cuts, and the double curb is no different. The chain shines really well, and the double curb chain has been very popular on our website, and for a good reason. It has that classic curb look, but with a fuller pattern. It has more silver compared to the original curb that is more open gap, and that gives it a stronger presence on the neck. Now, another thing worth pointing out is the way the chain sits on the neck. The curb style chains already have a nice neutral lay to them, and the double curb keeps that same easy look on body. It has a strong presence, but it still looks clean and wearable. So when you're watching the chain in footage, that is one thing to pay attention to. Look at how the links lay, look at how the chain feels on the neckline, and look at how the design gives you a fuller appearance without needing to go extremely big. That is really one of the strengths of this chain. Now, in the 5.9 millimeter size, I think this design shows very well. At this size, the chain has enough width to clearly show the double curb pattern, and that matters because a design like this, you want enough room for the structure of the chain to actually read well on the camera and the body. And that is one of the reasons I like this size. It has enough width for the design to come through clearly, and it still stays in the very wearable zone for everyday use. Now, based off the analytics, when you guys are looking at 3 millimeters, 4 millimeters, 5 millimeters, those become the most purchased millimeters. Now, this one is at 5.9, basically a 6 millimeter. It is still going to be a subtle chain for many of you guys that are more built up when it comes to your neck and your body size. So if you're watching the chain and trying to understand how it comes across at 5.9 millimeters, that is really the takeaway. It looks full, it looks clean, and it still has a strong curb style presence. Now, compared to the more standard curb chain, the double curb gives you a little bit more body in the overall look. That does not mean it's trying to be flashy in a loud way. It just means the chain feels more built up visually, and that's because it has more silver. That extra link added to the chain has more weight and gives it more opportunity to shine. As some of you guys know, sterling silver is a very highly reflective metal, and that is really where this design separates itself. A standard curb chain is more straightforward. The double curb gives you a fuller pattern and a stronger overall presence, and that is the difference. Now, when this chain is on the neck, it has a very balanced look. It's not too busy and it is not too plain. The chain has enough details in the pattern to feel interesting, but it still keeps that classic curb style that makes it easy to wear. That is one thing I think a lot of people will appreciate about this design. It still feels timeless. Even though it has more going on than a standard curb, it does not feel overdone. It still feels like a chain you can throw on easy and understand it right away. Now, in terms of styling, I think the 5.9 millimeter double curb is definitely strong enough to wear by itself. It already has enough presence, it already fills the neckline well, and the design already gives the chain enough character on its own. So if you wear it solo, it is going to show very well. And if the goal is to really understand the chain design, wearing it by itself is usually the easiest way to appreciate the link design. And of course, I know a lot of you guys like to layer and stack as well. You can definitely layer this as well. Even with the original curb chain, you will get two different designs that look very similar, and they will complement each other as well. Now, let's talk about who I think this chain is for. First, I think this is for someone who already likes the curb chain and wants a version that feels a little bit more built up. Second, I think this is for someone who wants a chain that has a classic look, but with a fuller visual pattern than a basic curb chain, something that has a little bit more weight to it. And third, I think this is for someone who wants something that feels easy to wear, but still has enough presence to stand out on its own. And fourth, I think this is for someone who wants a chain that that looks strong in the neck without needing to jump into something oversized. That is really a good lane for this design. Now guys, that's it for this video. I basically wanted to give you guys an idea on how this chain actually looks like being worn and holding it in hand compared to just going to the website and seeing a chain with the white background on it. Like always, if you can, put the fire emoji, the wave emoji in the comments below, just letting me know that you watched this video all the way to the end. Much love, respect, and I'll see you guys in the next video.